We have big news in the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. We have a trio of signings announced today as they prepare to finalize their roster for opening night. We'll get into the details on the signings coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we're at that point in the NHL's preseason where it's almost time to have your rosters finalized and have to be salary cap compliant. So all teams are making moves. We saw big activity on the waiver wire yesterday. Teams are finalizing some signings, PTOs and stuff like that today. And the Maple Leafs are certainly very busy in that regard with a trio of signings that they reported this morning. So, of course, a couple of players that have been in camp on PTOs that were expected to be signed have officially done so. So we'll start with Max Pacioretty, of course, arguably the biggest name that the Leafs had on this kind of scenario in a PTO. Of course, we know Pacioretty's battled a lot of injuries the past couple of years, and he's looking for a bounce-back season. So this very well could turn into a bargain contract if he performs anywhere near what his career standards have been. Pacioretty's one-year deal has a cap hit of $873,770. However, there is performance bonuses built in here because of his age and health status. He is eligible for performance bonuses. So his total comp for this contract can be upwards of $1.5 million. So the two bonus structures that are built in are based on games played. So at game number 10 and game number 35, when he reaches those thresholds, he would get a bonus of $313,115 at each of those. So that would, you add that to the 873, that would come to $1.5 million if he makes that. So as long as he plays 35 games, he'll hit 1.5 with the Leafs. Now, of course, how that works is for this year, the 873 will count as a cap hit, and at the end of the season, they look at the total bonuses, and if you have the cap space to build that into your final cap hit for the year, you can do so. If there's not a room to do that, then you have an overage penalty for the next year. So it is possible that the Leafs could have a cap penalty next year of, somewhere in that 600,000 range if they don't have money to absorb Pacioretty's bonuses, assuming that he hits them. And he will hit them as long as he stays healthy and obviously, or doesn't end up being a healthy scratch a whole bunch of times, which we're not expecting. Certainly Pacioretty's capabilities in the past have shown he can be a pretty good player. So we'll see how things work out for him, but he's officially signed. Steven Lorentz, also in camp on a PTO, has earned a one-year contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Lorenz's deal is a lot more simple. It's just a one-year deal at league minimum. So Lorentz, of course, certainly has a good experience coming off a Stanley Cup championship with the Florida Panthers last year. Wasn't always in the lineup in the playoffs, but certainly somebody who can play with some speed and physicality, can be a pretty decent bottom six player. So Lorentz will add some of that to the repertoire of the Leafs bottom six. A one-year deal, league minimum. I guess, again, another contract where there's really not much risk involved. If for some reason things aren't working out with Steven Lorentz, he could go on waivers. If he's not picked up, he could be put down to the minors and the contract could be fully buried. So, at the same time, this is a low risk, potentially high reward deal for the Leafs. And they've also got another contract done today, and that's extending young defenseman Cade Weber, of course, who was a college signing of theirs not long ago. But Weber is entering the final year of his current contract. He's extended for 2 years. Now, that 2-year contract will see him, so he's got this year, 24-25. This contract will kick in next year for 25-26. It is a two-way contract next year, but the year after that, 26-27, it's a one-way deal. So clearly, I think it's fair to say that they see Weber as being, a long-term viable NHL solution to give him a one-way contract for that part. Gives him time to develop, play with the Marlies, and certainly go from there. So obviously, to make everything happen, they do have some LTIR usage, which includes Yanni Hakanpää as well as Calle Järnkrok, and of course we know Connor Dewar is not available here as of yet. I believe with Connor Dewar, I think he's actually going to be on season opening injured reserve, because you can have a season opening or you can go to LTIR. I know there's a bunch of players here that are kind of moving parts, but obviously Järnkrok and Hakanpää will not be available to start the campaign. Of course, we've contemplated and talked about Järnkrok's future when he is healthy. I do wonder if he'll be a trade piece or somebody who could be moved. So either way, the Leafs may not be completely done because the roster does not have to be finalized until 5 o'clock Eastern time today. But those are your Leafs signings for now. We'll be back on those other signings around the league, but we haven't had that many with one team. So I thought I'd do one dedicated video for them. And of course, we'll be back with another news recap a little bit later today. So certainly stay tuned for that and let us know what you think of these Leaf contracts in the comments, and we'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.